moment of doubt and pain. I made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from guitarlessons365.com. Got a classic for you today. We're going to learn how to play Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. This one's in standard tuning, and I'm going to be switching between acoustic for just pretty much all the kind of recreating all the piano parts, because it's pretty much a piano tune. And then at the end, I'm going to switch it over to electric to cover Keith Richards' solo. Alright, so before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you know when I release a new video. And check out my Guitar Academy. The link is in the description. It's got all my guitar courses, covered a bunch of different topics from improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, technique. A lot of cool stuff over there. A complete beginner's course. So please go over there and check it out if you will. Let's jump into this now. So I'm trying to do this not just kind of like a basic chord version, as you might see this done on the guitar a lot. I'm really trying to recreate the chord voicings that the piano is doing. So there's a lot of like that kind of thing, kind of 6/4 chords all over the place. So we're going to be doing a lot of that. So, but it's not that hard. There's only a couple of chord progressions to it, and then we're going to be switching to electric. So let me just jump in here. This intro, it's kind of a more subdued version of the verse. So that's going to start with just an E major chord. So you can play that, the open E string, 7th fret on the A, and then bar the 9th across the D, G, and the B. Then you're going to take that down 2 frets to a D major chord. And when you do that, you're going to need to mute that low E string and just really strum the 4 middle strings. So it's just same shape, move down 2 frets. Then we go to an A major, and I'm just doing that with a bar 2 across the 2nd fret of the D, G, and the B with the open A string. And then there's a little bass line that leads us back to the beginning again. So we have, and that's just play that A, then go 4, 5 on the A string, and then start over. So, well, basically go back to the E chord. It doesn't start over yet. You go to that E, and then just before you start over, you're going to go over and grab the 7th fret there on the low E string, and then go back to the E chord to start it over. So we have this. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of will and taste. So then you start the next line. Been around for a long, long year. Stole many man's soul to waste. I was round when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. And this last one, when you went to that E chord at the very end, at the end of the verse, it's a kind of a reduced version of what we're going to be doing later. But we have, instead of doing the full 6/4 chord, we're just doing a sus4 chord, not a 6/4 chord. This is going to be a sus4. The rest of them will be 6/4 later in the chord. 6/4 chord means a chord in the second version. So we basically are going to be playing that E. Instead of going over to the 7th fret on the low E, we're just gonna add the 10th fret there on the B real quick, and then go back to the E. So that's gonna be what we do at the end of the verse there, the first verse. So coming up. Now, for the first time in the chorus, we also have kind of a slower version where we're just hitting the chords and letting them ring. I didn't really do that in the I know, the intro performance, but we have the chorus chords are going to be this. So let me just go through the chords real quick. We have a B major chord, and then it goes to an E major with B in the bass, and that's a 6/4 chord. I know that's music theory jargon, but so that's just an E major chord like we did earlier, but you're actually extending that bar, that note on the 7th fret of the A string over to the 7th fret of the low E as well. So we have this, pleased to meet you. So you go to that E with B in the bass and then go back to the B major. Hope you guess my name. So here, it goes to an E chord, but before you get there, it's not the sus chord anymore. It's actually an A major chord in second inversion. So what you're gonna want to do is play. I think the easiest way to make it sound the closest to the piano is, first of all, keep the low E open, because that's still going to be our root note. And I'm playing the 11th fret on the D string, and I'm barring the 9th fret on the across the G and the high E, and I'm going to add that 10th fret there on the B string. Now what I'm doing when I'm playing it is I'm letting the index finger go up across the notes that is barring a little bit further so it can mute that A string. Well, doesn't really matter, but I think it sounds better without that open A string. So we have this, really in the beginning of the song, it's just strum from the low E, that open E, muted A string, and strum across to the B string, and then go to the E major. So we have, pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. So I went to that A with E in the bass, and then to the E, and then back to the A with the E in the bass. So that's kind of this little, those are the chord moves that they're using a lot in the chorus. Hope you guess my name. And then when we go back to the B, there's a quick, that A with the E in the bass again. So take us back to the B, and then it goes back to the E with B in the bass, and back to the B, and then, and at the end, you hit that A chord twice. So it's just 3 chords, but you gotta kind of hear where they all come into play. So we just have this. Alright, now here we start the verse again, and it's kind of more upbeat, more of a strumming type of thing. So it's similar, just kind of doing a full strumming pattern across those chords. But at the end, I'm doing that sus4 instead of going. So instead of doing that B on the low E string there, I'm just going. And then to get to the chorus again, we have kind of more of the same chorus chords, but just, like I said, more of a strumming thing of a version of it. Back to the verse again. Now I know this is probably a little bit more difficult than sometimes you'll see people just kind of do the verse kind of like we did it. But then for the chorus, they just go to the B to the E, like. Nice to meet you. Oh, yes, so, you know, feel free to do it like that or kind of like this. Maybe the sus4 when you get to the E and then back. So you can just go between a basic B chord and an E chord and get away with it, and it's a lot easier to play. So that's an option, and when you get to the E chord, it sounds good. Kind of add that sus4. But it doesn't sound as authentic as this. So you just decide which one you want to do, and then just run with it. It'll sound fine either way, but the first version is closer to the piano part. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab an electric guitar, and I'm going to go through Keith Richards' solo real quick for you. So stay tuned for that. All right, so this tone is bright. I don't know what he's got. It's some kind of treble booster or something, but it is metallic, to say the least. So anyway, not maybe the most pleasant tone to use the solo with. But anyway, so we have here, we're going to start with it. So that is a rake, a backwards rake. A descending rake. So what he's doing is he's holding the 12th fret across the B, the high E, B, and the G string. And he's kind of rolling his finger while he rakes upwards across the strings. So you want to time it so it doesn't sound like this. You don't want that. You want. So you kind of slightly roll your finger so it kills the note that you just finished playing. So as soon as you get that down, where the notes sound kind of separated, you can add the end of the lick. And that end of the lick is a bend at the 14th fret, bend and release on the G string, pull off to 12, over to 14 on the D. So it is. And then you do that again. And then we have the rest of the solo. Next phrase. So that is 14 on the D string, and then play 12, 14 on the G, and then do a bend there, whole step bend. And then we do that again pretty much, the same first three notes, at 14 on the D and 12, 14 on the G, but now the bend is going to be over here on the 15th fret there on the B string. So with this. All right, and then we're gonna go up here to the 17th fret on the high E string. Whole step bend. Release that bend and pick it, and then there's a slow bend. Kind of just push it upwards. The 15th fret on the high string. Over to the 17th fret there on the B. So with this. So. right, next phrase. So we start here now, this next phrase here, with pulling off 17 to 15 on the high E string, over to 17 on the B, and then roll back to that 17 on the high E. And then we're gonna, so after those 4 notes, then we have, which is gonna be the pull off from 17 to 15 again, then pull off 17 to 15 on the B string, then hammer back on that 17. Back to the 15 on the high E string, and then back to the 17 on the B. So we have this. So we have this. All right, so. And then from there, we have this. And that's just going 17 on the B, then 15, 17 on the high E, bend, then the 17th fret without the bend, so with this, back down to 15. And then you're going to do a pull off from 17 to 15 again, over to 17 there on the B. So we have this. So from the beginning. All right, so from here we have this. So this next phrase is, so that starts on the 17 on the B again, but we just jump right over to the 17 on the high E and do some bends, then pick it without the bend, and then with the bend, and then back without. So, and then play 15, 17, I'm sorry. Slow bend again on that 15, over to the 17 on the high E, sorry, on the B. So it is. And then from there, we just have this. So that's just hitting the 17, kill it, and then, so 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, just on that 17 on the B string. And then we have this to end it. So that's the same thing. Kind of did that melody earlier. And then this little ending, which is just which is 17, 15, 17 on the B, and then 15, 17 3 times on the high E. So we have this. And then we are over to the B string 17th fret a couple times, and then it kind of slides down. Now we do have the solo just at the end of the track. He kind of does more of, kind of more sparse, and it just kind of wanders a little bit and fades out. But I'm not going to go through that solo, the outro solo, note for note, but it's kind of the same. He still does a. And all he's using is this E minor pentatonic. So really the top half of the E minor pentatonic. And then like just kind of really just the top 2 strings of the next pentatonic form up, which is that 15, 17 on the B and the high E. So just kind of do your own thing with just those. He does a lot of the similar licks that he did in the main solo. So you can just kind of do those and probably figure out what he's doing pretty easy, just knowing that. They're pretty similar to licks you already know, and it's just using those simple little scale forms there. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.